right, so this video is going to show you how to complete your textural value practice page in your sketchbook. So when you're done, it is going to look something like this. We're going to practice 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 different types of texture. Each one we're going to shade different values and using a flat value scale, and then you're going to choose one of them to do a transitional value scale. So go ahead and start on a new page in your sketchbook. We're going to call it textural value. And this comes from the idea of texture. So what does something feel like? How can we show what something feels like? This is different than smooth value. It's kind of the exact opposite of it. All right, so the first one we're going to do is hatching. And for this, we're just going to make 4 different spots for 4 different values. So you could do about an inch for each one. So I'm going to do 4 inches. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to have 4 different spots. I did do 4 inches, so I'm going to make 1 for each inch. And mark it each inch. All right, so then the next spot is going to be cross hatching. Same deal. Pause the video as you need to get the drawing done or your page set up. Number 3 is going to be stipple. You shouldn't make your boxes much smaller than this because you're not going to have the space you need in order to practice the technique. And that's the thing with textural value, is trying to get it even over a larger area, even though you're using a lot of lines. Okay, number 4 is pattern. So pattern is, I'm going to ask you to just choose a pattern of your own. Basically, a pattern is a repeated motif. So you decide what that is. Something that you haven't done in one of the previous ones would be a good idea. And number 5, if you feel more comfortable drawing these in pencil first, go ahead and do that. But really, this is just a place to practice, so it's okay if it's not perfect. Scumbling, that's an exciting one. All right. And then you will choose one of those. These are all flat values, and we're going to label them really quickly. You're going to choose one to do in a transitional value. So number 6 is transitional value. Choose one technique. Okay, so for the textural, it is going to be a long box. We don't have to divide it. So this is just going to be an area that we can practice going from light to dark. All right, so for each one of these, I would set it up the same, that you have your dark value on one side, and then we're going to have a medium dark, medium, and then light. If you want to, label each box, you can. Really, it's not necessary. All right, so hatching. Hatching is a one-directional line. So when I'm doing pen shading or textural value, I do normally start with the dark one because I can't erase. Usually if I start with the light side, I end up making it too dark and then I can't really do anything about it. So if you make a mistake here, you can always draw another set of boxes just to the right. But some people are more precise with their hatching, which means that they use a ruler. You can use a ruler. Your hatching lines can go up and down, they can go side to side, but they are all the same direction or parallel, and they will eventually, go over each other, especially for the dark ones. So as I'm looking at this, I am noticing that there's an area that is lighter and an area that's darker. So in these boxes, I want it to be a flat, even value. So I'm going to go back and shade in. Now notice not all of my lines go across the box. And the other thing I want to do is I'm practicing my craftsmanship right now. So I am practicing getting all the way up to the edge. So notice I'm going back from this side down here to the upper side, but it's still just on that diagonal. I am making this box as dark as I possibly can make it using a one directional line. Or for me, it's just diagonal. It could be side to side, it could be up and down. So as I look at that and kind of blur my eyes, I want to make sure it looks the same value all over. And I can kind of see there's these areas that are too dark. So I'm going to fill in around those areas, try to make it. Now, I do want you to use a ballpoint pen, and right from the start, I want you to realize that you can use different pressures with your ballpoint pen. So I can press very hard. I can get a darker line, a thicker line. That's appropriate for the dark. When I press lighter, I can even scrape the pen on the paper and get a lighter value. All right, my next one is a medium dark. So I want this to just be one step lighter than my dark. Again, I'm using the same type of texture, which is hatching, one directional line. So pressing down harder, I get darker, thicker lines, lighter. So even though this is a pen, something I normally write with, I am using it as a drawing instrument. So I am using it differently than maybe I would if I were writing a letter or writing something down. I am using it to draw. Okay, it's just a step lighter. Now I'm going to go with medium. Notice how I'm holding my pen at an angle too. This is actually one of my favorite pens for shading. It's just a Bic crystal pen. What you don't want to use with this is a gel pen. So a gel pen is going to be harder to control. This is an example of a gel pen. This is a uniball. It is harder to vary the value just through pressure. So medium, okay, and then light. Wider apart, lighter touch. All right, so I have a pretty good scale from dark, medium, medium to light. What is cross-hatching? Cross-hatching is two directions or more. I will often just go. So some people like to start out across the whole box, go one direction, then go another, and then they only go in like a grid pattern. But I actually encourage you to use many more directions. And it can even be, you could even do cross hatching like this. It doesn't have to extend across the whole box. All right, we're going to get a dark, dark, medium, and light. Stipple. This is going to take the most amount of time. If you're in the classroom, it might be a little annoying, but you are going to do tiny little dots. Now, with a ballpoint pen, in order for the ink to transfer to the point of the pen, you have to roll it. So in fact, with a ballpoint pen, instead of a perfect dot, because the ink's not going to continue to cover the ball at the end, you're going to have to do like a little, almost like a comma. So this is going to take the longest. You're going to create a dark value in stipple, and you want it to match these two values. So if I look straight down in this row, those values should match. So if I look here, I have dark, 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 dark. If I look down that row, they're all about the same value. All right, pattern, that's up to you. So any repeated motif that we haven't already done. You could do like a little circle pattern. You could do a squiggly pattern. You could do any kind of repeated motif. You could do these. So whatever it is, you're going to fill that whole space with that pattern. Does not have to be an ordered pattern. So an ordered pattern goes in perfect rows or columns. There is a clear pattern like A, or A, B. It could be a random pattern, so that's what I'm starting to do here. All right, scumbling is one of my favorites. High school, my teacher called it the electric line, but basically scumbling is this irregular, curvy, jumbled mess, kind of like a ball of lint. So again, you can control the pressure of your pen. So more pressure, thicker lines, darker. By the time you get over to here, really baby your pressure, ease back. And with scumbling, it is important to get all the way up to the edge. You might want to use what I call a guard sheet. So this is just an extra piece of paper. And if I put that next to that, I can get a nice crisp edge. All right, so you're going to do all the values in scumbling, and then you're going to choose one of them to do a transitional value. So transitional value is going to fade from very dark to very light. You pick whichever one of those. This student chose scumbling, so it goes from very dark, and it matches that dark, through medium light to light. So practice all those techniques and turn that in for your textural value practice.